In this lesson, you will learn how to compare places by looking at both the land and the choices people make. Look across the wide scene. Homes, routes, fields, and work activities appear in 3 different landscapes, but none of the places looks as if the land alone tells the whole story. Our task is to notice patterns without turning them into fixed rules. Look at the same landscape on the left and then follow the 3 arrows. The place offers certain conditions, but it does not point to only one human response. Environmental opportunity means that the environment offers possibilities and limits, while adaptation means people adjust their ways of living to those conditions. The 3 branches show that more than one sensible choice can come from the same setting. The branching arrows show the main idea. Land influences choices without fixing one outcome. Adaptation is a human response to conditions. The environment matters because slope, water, surface shape, and other conditions can make some choices easier and others harder. But people still decide among possibilities, using experience and purpose. That is why adaptation is not the same as simply obeying the landscape. We study what the environment offers and then examine how people respond. This keeps geography focused on both place and human choice. Keep both sides of the relationship in view. Adaptation combines environment and human choice. Neither side alone explains the whole pattern. Use the branches from one setting to several responses. What are adaptation and environmental opportunity, and what do the multiple branches show? The diagram gives us both meanings at once. Adaptation is adjusting ways of living to conditions, and environmental opportunity means the environment offers possibilities and limits. The multiple branches show that one setting can support more than one human choice. The land influences choices without completely deciding them. Next, we will learn how livelihood, settlement pattern, and accessibility help us compare everyday life. Look at the community scene and separate 3 kinds of evidence. The work activity tells us about livelihood, which means how people make a living. The arrangement of homes shows settlement pattern, while the connecting route gives us evidence about accessibility, or how easily places can be reached. These 3 ideas help us compare human life without mixing different kinds of evidence together. Each category answers a different question. Work, arrangement, and access are different evidence types. Keeping them separate makes comparison clearer. A place can have one kind of livelihood, but more than one settlement pattern, or good access to one area and poorer access to another. That is why these terms should not be treated as synonyms. Livelihood focuses on work, settlement pattern focuses on spatial arrangement, and accessibility focuses on connection and reach. When we compare places later, using the same category on each side makes the comparison fair. The categories are related but not interchangeable. Livelihood is not the same as settlement pattern. Accessibility adds a separate connection clue. Match each evidence type to the part of the scene it describes. What do livelihood, settlement pattern, and accessibility each describe? Each word has one clear job. Livelihood describes how people make a living, settlement pattern describes how homes and buildings are arranged, and accessibility describes how easily places can be reached. The scene gives one visual clue for each idea. Next, we will use these ideas in a 3-column comparison of mountain, plateau, and plain settings. Read the table by rows, not by jumping around the columns. For housing, transport, farming, work, and settlement, compare the mountain, plateau, and plain evidence using the same criterion each time. Mountain settings often show slope-related housing, winding routes, terrace farming, particular livelihoods, and thinner settlement. Plateau settings use broad raised surfaces for varied housing, routes, grazing, or farming and resource-linked work. Plains often support easier routes, broad farming areas, city activity, and denser settlement. The banner matters. These are patterns, not rules for every place. The row headings keep the comparison fair. Use the same criteria across all three landforms. Housing, transport, farming, work, and settlement stay aligned. A comparison becomes misleading if we compare transport in one place with farming in another. The table solves that problem by holding the criterion steady across all three columns. It also helps us see that differences are linked to landform conditions without claiming that every mountain, plateau, or plain community must look the same. The note patterns, not rules, protects us from turning a useful comparison into a fixed stereotype. That is the strength of an evidence table. The table gives us a comparison rule. Compare like with like across each row. Then describe tendencies without making absolutes. Choose one row and scan across all three columns. How do housing, transport, farming, work, and settlement compare across mountain, plateau, and plain settings in the table? Use the shared rows to summarize the pattern. Mountain settings often show slope-adapted housing, winding transport, terrace farming, mountain livelihoods, and thinner settlement. Plateau settings show varied use of broad raised surfaces for housing, roots, grazing, or farming, resource-linked work, and settlement. Plains often show easier transport, broad farming, city work, and denser settlement. These are patterns, not fixed rules. Next, we will separate environmental opportunity from the mistaken idea that landform alone determines culture. Look at the left panel first. The terrain is broadly similar, yet the two communities do not make exactly the same choices. Now look at the right panel. A similar activity appears in two different terrain settings. This is why environmental opportunity is a better idea than environmental determinism. Landforms influence possibilities and limits, but landform alone does not determine culture or force one fixed way of life. The two panels test a very strong claim. Landform influences life, but does not determine culture. Similar places can support different choices. A deterministic claim treats the environment as if it were the only cause of human behavior. The evidence does not support that. People bring decisions, knowledge, history, and social choices into the way they use a place, so the same physical setting can be used differently. At the same time, similar activities can appear in different physical settings. Geography therefore studies environmental influence without reducing culture to landform. The evidence gives us a safer conclusion. Environmental influence is not cultural destiny. Landform alone cannot explain a whole culture. Use one piece of evidence from each panel. How does the image distinguish environmental opportunity from environmental determinism and correct the claim that landform alone determines culture? The two panels point to the same correction. Environmental opportunity means landforms influence possibilities and limits, while environmental determinism wrongly treats the environment as deciding human life. The image corrects the claim by showing different choices in similar terrain and a shared activity in different terrains. Landform alone does not determine culture. Next, we will see how technology, knowledge, and cooperation can expand the choices available in a place. Compare the same setting before and after. In the second panel, technology improves a connection, knowledge helps arrange land use, and cooperation supports shared action. Together, these can expand the choices available in a place. This corrects another misconception. People do adapt to environments, but they can also alter how environments are used rather than only accepting conditions unchanged. The second panel has more options than the first. Human agency can expand environmental choices. Technology, knowledge, and cooperation all contribute. Technology can change what is reachable, knowledge can change how people organize an activity, and cooperation can combine effort across a community. None of these removes the environment. The slope and surface are still present. Instead, human action changes the range of workable choices within that setting. This is why geography should not describe people as passive. Human beings respond to environments and also reshape how places are used. The landscape still matters, but the option set has changed. People respond to places and reshape their use. Adaptation is not purely passive. Compare what each of the three top icons changes. How do technology, knowledge, and cooperation expand choices, and what misconception does the before and after image correct? The changes show three forms of human agency. Technology can improve connections, knowledge can improve how activities are organized, and cooperation can support shared action. Together, they expand choices and correct the misconception that people only adapt and never alter environments. The same setting supports more options after human action. Next, we will use a fictional local area comparison to apply the same evidence categories without assuming every place is identical. Start with the fictional local area A and collect evidence before looking at the comparison matrix. The clustered homes give settlement evidence, the bus route gives accessibility evidence, and the cultivated plots give livelihood evidence. When these clues are compared with the mountain, plateau, and plain patterns, the checks do not all fall in one column. A local area comparison should therefore use several pieces of evidence and allow mixed similarities, instead of forcing every place into one perfect category. The mixed checkmarks are the most important clue. Local comparisons should use several evidence types. One area can resemble more than one pattern. Real places can contain gentle slopes, flatter sections, different routes, and several forms of work within one small area. If we classify from only one clue, we may ignore the rest of the evidence. A better method is to compare the same categories used in the earlier table and describe which patterns are similar and which are different. This gives a careful local comparison without pretending the area must copy a textbook example exactly. The method matters more than finding one label. Use evidence before choosing a comparison. Mixed similarities are acceptable. Use the local evidence first, then the check marks. How should local area A be compared with mountain, plateau, and plain patterns? The mixed evidence gives the correct method. Compare local area A using several categories such as livelihood, settlement pattern, and accessibility. Then describe which mountain, plateau, or plain patterns each clue resembles instead of forcing all evidence into one column. The matrix shows that mixed similarities are possible. Next, we will combine adaptation, comparison, environmental opportunity, and human choice in one final evidence task. This final board brings the lesson together. Compare the same criteria across landforms, identify adaptation, keep livelihood, settlement pattern, and accessibility separate, and use environmental opportunity to describe influence without complete determination. Then add human agency. Technology, knowledge, and cooperation can expand choices. A balanced explanation connects all of these clues and rejects the claim that landform decides everything. The arrows show that no single clue is enough. Balanced explanations combine environment and human choice. Comparison and agency belong in the same account. Start with evidence from the landform and the visible human pattern, but do not stop there. Ask what opportunities or limits the setting creates, how people adapt, and what livelihood, settlement, and accessibility evidence shows. Then consider how technology, knowledge, and cooperation may change the available options. This sequence keeps the explanation geographic without becoming deterministic. It also helps us compare places fairly while leaving room for real human choice. The final rule protects us from simple stereotypes. Landform matters, but human choice matters too. Use evidence from both sides. Use at least 4 clue cards in your answer. How would you build a balanced explanation of life across landforms without treating landform as the only cause? Now combine comparison with human choice. Compare the same criteria across landforms, describe adaptation, livelihood, settlement pattern, and accessibility, explain environmental opportunities and limits, and include how technology, knowledge, and cooperation can expand choices. Then state that landform influences, but does not completely determine human life. That uses evidence from both environment and human agency. You are ready to compare life across landforms using evidence without turning patterns into fixed rules.